أشرقت نفسي بنور من فؤادي حينما رددت يا رب العباد وانتشت روحي وصار الدمع.
The Prophet ﷺ said, حينما يتكلم الله or إذا تكلم الله بالوحي, the malaika will listen carefully. Once Allah Jalla wa Ala speaks the wahi, which means that the revelation He is speaking, He just spoke it. So it came to existence after it was not in existence. Now, but the ability that Allah Jalla wa Ala had to speak is always with Allah Jalla wa Ala. So the essence of speaking existed as Allah Jalla wa Ala existed, because it is one of the attributes of Allah Jalla wa Ala. But the outcome of that action might exist after it was not in existence. So I hope that this point is clear. And once we understand this point, we understand the differentiation between the actions and the outcome of the actions of Allah Jalla wa Ala and the name and the attributes of Allah Jalla wa Ala. Now here we have to be careful. Once we say the actions of Allah Jalla wa Ala and the outcome of the actions of Allah Jalla wa Ala, it doesn't mean that the outcome of the actions of Allah Jalla wa Ala is a created being. It does not mean this at all. For example, Allah Jalla wa Ala speaks. So the speech of Allah Jalla wa Ala, the speech of Allah Jalla wa Ala, that is the outcome of Him speaking, although it existed after it was not in existence, it doesn't mean that it is a created being or it is a creation. We have to be careful. And sometimes the outcome of the actions of Allah Jalla wa Ala is a created being. We are the outcome of the actions of Allah Jalla wa Ala. Allah Jalla wa Ala created us. So we are created beings despite the fact that we are the outcome of the action that has been attributed to Allah Jalla wa Ala. Okay, this is one point. Then the author discussed another important point, maybe a little bit difficult, but we will try to simplify. He says that when we say that Allah Jalla wa Ala has names and attributes, the names and attributes, are they the same of the named, or are they different from the named? The named, what does the named mean? The named is Allah Himself. So the question is, are the names and attributes of Allah Jalla wa Ala different from Allah, or are they the same? The same as Allah. I hope that the point is clear. The question is clear. The names and attributes, are they different from Allah, or are they the same as Allah? Now this question, as the commentator said, is ambiguous. We have to understand it and qualify it carefully. If we say that they are attributes and the names of Allah Jalla wa Ala, then they are attributed as a description of Allah. So from this perspective, they are adding a description to the essence of Allah Jalla wa Ala, to the that of Allah Jalla wa Ala. So hence, the name Allah is different from the name Ar-Rahim, Ar-Rahman, As-Sami', Al-Basir. And his essence, from this perspective, is different from the names and from his names and attributes. However, it doesn't mean that Allah existed in somewhere and His names and attributes exist in somewhere else. So Allah is separated from His names and attributes, because we said that Allah Jalla wa Ala has names and attributes that are different from His essence. No, different from His essence, as we said, is just a description that was added to Allah Jalla wa Ala. So they are not the same word as Allah. They have added some description to Allah Jalla wa Ala. So I hope that this point is clear. Let me clarify it more by saying that a human being, for example, Sheikh Asim existed. Now, Asim, if we say that Asim is an intelligent person, the intelligence is a description of Asim. Asim does not exist except the intelligent. His intelligence exists because his intelligence is his. Now, however, if we say that intelligence is a dummy word that has no meaning, that does not add any quality to Asim, then we say, no. That is wrong. Intelligence is a quality, an attribute that describes Asim as an intelligent person. So from this perspective, Asim as an entity is different from that description, which is intelligence. But as a whole, Asim, he is the intelligent person, or he is an intelligent person. So this is in order just to understand it. But when we talk about Allah Jalla wa Ala and His names and attributes, it is even more. How? Because once we say that Allah is Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahman is a description of Allah Jalla wa Ala, but it is adding one more quality to what Allah Jalla wa Ala, the word Allah Jalla wa Ala indicates. So the word Allah Jalla wa Ala describes the essence of Allah Jalla wa Ala, His that only, Himself, without giving us any equality of how of who Allah Jalla wa Ala is, what is or what are the attributes of Allah Jalla wa Ala. How can we describe Allah Jalla wa Ala? What is the description of Allah Jalla wa Ala? So when we say Allah is Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, As-Sami', Al-Basir, all sufficient, all acquainted, all hearing, etc. Here we have added a description or descriptions to Allah Jalla wa Ala. So although they are talking about Allah Himself, not talking about something else, but they are different from just the word Allah and what it entails. I hope that this point, inshallah, is clear. Then the commentator came to discuss one maybe philosophical point, which is the issue of tasalsul al-hawadith. Okay, I will just mention it briefly. Hopefully I can mention it briefly. I'm just mentioning it because some people might read in the Arabic or even the translated English version of Sharh al-Tahawiyah, and they might have some questions about it. See, tasalsul al-hawadith, it is a question. We said that Allah Jalla wa Ala attributed khalq to Himself. Allah Jalla wa Ala is the creator. And the author said that He did not gain the attribute as a creator after He created. No, He is, Allah Jalla wa Ala is always having this attribute as the creator. Okay, does that mean that Allah Jalla wa Ala never created anything and He Himself existed without any creation. And then Allah Jalla wa Ala started to create or not? This is the question. So the question again is, as the commentator said here, whether events as a class are unending in the future as well as in the past. The events as a class are unending in the future and also are ending and unending in the past. Here, let us explain what we are talking about more. Events, hawadith, in Arabic hawadith, they refer to two things. They refer to the outcome of the actions of Allah Jalla wa Ala, whether the outcome of the actions of Allah Jalla wa Ala are created beings or part of his qualities and attributes. As we said that Allah Jalla wa Ala speaks, but the outcome of his speech is not created. Allah Jalla wa Ala creates. The outcome of his quality or his action to create is creation. So creation is creation, created beings, and it is the outcome of one of his actions. So the outcome of the actions of Allah Jalla wa Ala are not the same. However, both of them are called events, hawadith. Yani they existed after they were not in existence. And we have to be careful. Although they share the same quality, that they existed after they were not in existence, it doesn't mean that both of them are created. Now, those events, the question is, as the commentator presented it, as a class, not as individual events, not as specific events, as a class. Yani the principle of the existence of events. Is it unending in the future as well as unending in the past? Unending in the past means that there were events in the past and we cannot put a point where events started to happen and before that there were no event. In another word, once we say that Allah Jalla wa Ala has actions, so if Allah Jalla wa Ala has actions, has Allah Jalla wa Ala ever existed with those qualities that he he does things, yet he never acted upon something, he never did anything, there was no outcome of any of his actions? This is the question. I hope that the question is clear. For example, Allah Jalla wa Ala creates. So can we say that Allah Jalla wa Ala was a creator, but he never created anything, and then at one point he started to create? So there was no creation, although himself called himself as a creator, and then at one point Allah Jalla wa Ala started to create. This is the question.